The Rebel Capitalist Show.
What are some of those comforting lies that we've been told that you've discovered through your journey and your research?
Some of the more obvious ones are just be a nice guy and she's going to love you into perpetuity, sort of thing. Or,
Yeah.
if you just get married, you're going to have access to love and, a loving, supporting partner, for the rest of your life, sort of thing. There's lots of narratives that kind of like dovetail off that really go into complex areas. But I think the nice guy, be a friend, be less so she can become more. A lot of those narratives really don't serve both men and women in the long term.
Yeah, that's right. So, I had this question written down, and it kind of pertains to what you're referring to from my standpoint. But, when I try to explain to people like the being red pill aware, or what that whole concept is when you're talking about understanding the psychology between men and women. If I have to explain it to someone very quickly, I'll say, well, again, it's that psychology, but it's understanding the psychology of what drives men and what drives women in their long-term mate selection.
Mhm.
But especially with women, you got to understand that women date sideways and up. And once you really understand that, I think a lot of what you're just talking about falls into place. Like if guys, they think that once they get married, that's it. You've got a partner that's just going to love you forever,
Mhm.
and therefore you can just sit on the couch and do nothing and be, quote unquote loser and not pursue excellence and all, and you're never going to have a problem. She's still going to be there. And that's just not true. It's not true. And you can't, and
No.
also, I see so many, especially young guys, they think all they have to do to get that, to build that relationship equity, I think is what you call it, is just be the nicest guy you can possibly be. Just bend over backwards,
Yeah.
be the nice guy. And I'm not saying be a jerk, but I always tell people that if you really want to understand the red pill, if you want to use it to your benefit, you've got to understand that doesn't cut it. What really cuts it is pursuing excellence. Would you say I'm accurate there, or how would you describe it?
Yeah. So what you're talking about is the ego investments that guys make into long-term relationships or marriages. And what they typically think is, okay, so I'll buy the house in a neighborhood that she wants. We'll have the kids, the total number of kids that she wants to have. I'll renovate the bathroom and the kitchen and the en suites, and I'll do everything that she wants. I'll hang up the curtains that she wants, and the crystal chandelier.
Yeah.
And all that equity that they put into the relationship is like a bank account that they can make deposits on that they'll be able to make withdrawals later. And it's simply not true. There's a concept called Briffault's law. You may have heard of it.
I think I've heard you talk about it a couple times, but I don't recall what it is.
Yeah, so you can probably sum it up nice and easy for a newer audience with Chris Rock's soundbite from his tambourine stand-up, where he said something along the lines of only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. Men are only loved under the condition that they provide something.
There
And
you
that's
go. Yeah.
basically what Briffault's law is distilled down to. But with guys, you can't rest on these laurels. You can't think that you can make, well, I committed to her and I married her, so she's always going to be by my side forever and ever until death do us part. It doesn't matter what vows you've taken. Women and female nature specifically are operate quite differently from what we've been told. And to your point of chasing excellence, it's one of the sound bites that I probably use the most often on my channel. I appreciate that you've heard it and you've started to say it as well too. But yeah, you can't relax in life as a guy. There's no days off for you, maybe a day off or an afternoon off on Father's Day or something like that. But there's no time off for you from chasing excellence and being on your purpose. Usually the clock starts ticking down to the end of the relationship the moment that the guy starts to relax. Often guys find that when their wives start to make more money than them, they get promoted to more successful positions, they may get laid off. They start to get fat or lazy. They start to accumulate a nice coating of Cheeto dust on their beard from watching sports too much. All of these things in some combination or another are indicative of a guy that's not on his purpose. And women pick up on that. Like
Yeah.
women, generally speaking, need to wake up every day and look over at their guy and say, yeah, this is the best I can do. I'm real happy with him.
Yeah. And that boils down to a respect to a certain degree, doesn't it? They've got to
Well,
respect the guy.
Yeah, like she's got to respect him, she's got to look up to him. I did an interview a long time ago with this woman over in Holland, and she said something that really stuck out to me. She said, "You've got to look up to your man like he's a giant, not like, physically he's 18 feet tall or anything like
Right.
that, but women want to look up to a guy that looks like a giant to them. They don't want to look across or down."
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, and what's great is I think for guys, you need to understand that that's within your control. That respect, you can't expect it to just be given for no reason. As a guy, you have to go out there and earn it every single day. And you can say that it's unfair. Women can say that certain things are unfair, but it just doesn't matter because that's the way we're hardwired and that's the way the world works.
You don't have
So
that right as a man to complain or say that anything's unfair. Nobody will listen to you. They'll just mock you, generally speaking, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Mm.
But I think it's such a powerful message, and that's why I say that all the time. Pursue excellence. Don't pursue women, especially the young guys out there. Because if once you start finding yourself, uh, with all that attention that you have and all that energy, once you find yourself pursuing women to try to get married, to try to start that family, it's going to take you down a path where you're going to get neither. It's like that quote from Ben Franklin about freedom and safety. I don't know if you recall that one, but he says basically, those people that pursue safety over freedom deserve neither. And it's
Mhm.
the same thing with guys. If you pursue women over excellence, you're going to end up with neither of them. So you've got it. But if you pursue excellence first and foremost, then magically you're going to have an abundance of both, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because there's a soundbite that I picked up on from a retreat that we had facilitated in an entrepreneurs group I was at in 2013. And he said something along the lines of playing to win versus playing not to lose. And I have a playlist on my YouTube channel that I titled Play to Win.
Yeah.
But they sound similar, but they're distinctly different. Men need to play to win in life. It's okay for women to play not to lose. Like women will generally play it safer. They're more risk adverse. So guys can't adopt the playing not to lose, mentality in life. I mean, a lot of guys can and do, but they're not going to get the better results out of life that the guys are getting that are playing to win, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. And just I'm going to hammer this home one more time so everyone's on the same page. Guys, if you're not having success in your relationship, it most likely isn't a result of you not buying your girlfriend or your wife enough flowers or being nice enough on Mother's Day or taking them to dinner once a week. It may have something to do with that, but the major root, most likely, I know it's not the same across the board, but the probabilities are very high that the reason is because there's a loss of respect there because you're not making a dent in the world, like I think Rich, you say all the time. You got to go out there and make your dent in the universe, is what you
Mhm.
say, I think.
Yeah.